Ann Arbor Inclusive is produced in part with the Ann Arbor Commission on Disability Issues and CTN. The views and opinions expressed in the show do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of the Commission or CTN. For more information about the Commission on Disability Issues, visit a2gov.org/disability resources. If you have program topic suggestions, please email a2disabilityissues@gmail.com.
We are in the middle of a disability rights movement in this very moment because of technology and the pandemic, that we have been able to change so many different things.
There aren't very many people with disabilities in my community. So I am working with able-bodied people, and I am showing people, what people with disabilities are able to do, and that we're still people and that we are able to thrive.
So I just hope that I'm able to encourage and motivate others in the disabled community to show up unashamed and unapologetic for the things that we need and the changes that must happen in our communities to make it more accessible.
Hello, and welcome to Ann Arbor Inclusive. We are a program of the Ann Arbor Commission on Disability Issues here at Community Television Network. Today, I'm really excited to talk to both a former colleague of mine and now hopefully a friends forever person that I admire and think very highly of, based on the kind of person she is. She's a beautiful young woman inside and out, and I'm just looking forward to talking to her about her experience with her spinal cord injury, and also her experience with the Miss Wheelchair Michigan, and her experience with that. So without further wait, I'd like to introduce Laura Michelle Jackson. Laura, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thanks so much for having me, Tom.
For sure. So I think, as you and I know, we share the same, not the same level, but we share common spinal cord injuries. We both use wheelchairs, and we both know that when we come into a room or someone sees us out in public, we know that the first thing that they want to know, whether they're honest or not, is what happened. Was this person born with a disability, or did something traumatic happen to them? And so I'm gonna be those people out in the crowd and ask you, for the sake of our interview and our show, can you tell us a little bit about the circumstances around your injury, such as how it happened and how old you were, and anything that you want to include on your rehab and things like that?
Yep, absolutely. So I grew up in a family of cheerleaders. I'm one of four sisters, and three of us were cheerleaders. So my whole life I grew up cheerleading, and it was a big part of my life and my community and my family. We went to cheer competitions and did sideline cheer. And so when I was 14, I was trying out for the high school team, and I did a back tuck, which is a backflip with no hands. And I fell directly on my head, and instantly I stopped breathing. So at that moment, I realized a few days later, I suffered a spinal cord injury. I broke my neck. I was 14 years old. I broke it at C1, C2, which is up at the very top of your spine.
Yeah.
And so it instantly took my breath away. C3 is where breathing is, and I broke it at C1, C2. I spent 7 months at Mott Children's Hospital, just recovering and getting used to this new body and new life as a woman with a spinal cord injury. I had also done rehab at the Recovery Project for many years, and I actually had an experimental surgery in China that helped me with a little bit of my neck movement, which I couldn't do before I went to China. And a little bit of my breathing on my own, which I'm very grateful for.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't sound the same as some other folks that are vent dependent, where they have to take pauses in a sentence. And so is that part of what your recovery was for, for after you went to China? Is that what
Yes,
helped?
yes, it absolutely helped with that. I, prior to going to China, sounded very much how other people on ventilators talk, and it's very only speaking on the exhale. Now I'm able to speak on both, and I'm so grateful for that, that it's given me more of a voice than what I had before, and some shoulder movement and some neck movement. So it did help with some of that, the surgery.
Helped free you up a bit.
Absolutely.
Yeah. How'd you find out about the surgery in China?
The doctor actually came to the Rehab Institute of Michigan in Novi, and we had heard about it, and my dad showed up there with a picture of me and my MRI, and the doctor said, okay, well, you have to wait a year until post injury. And so hopefully, once I got to China and I was able to have the surgery, I was really grateful to be able to breathe on my own and move my neck a little bit more since then.
And when was that you went?
2004.
Okay. Back to the tryouts where you were injured. When you stopped breathing right away, which you would at breaking your neck at that level, were you revived at the scene by someone there, or did you have to wait till paramedics got there?
So I count my blessings every day that I am here, and that I did not have any brain function loss from about the time I broke my neck to about when the ambulance got there was about 7 minutes, and I was not given CPR or anything. So I was really lucky that I was able to stay alive and still keep my brain function enough. And then the ambulance came, and they intubated me and started ambu bagging me immediately.
Got you. Wow, that's a good response time, 7 minutes.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
Yeah.
we are very lucky. I'm so lucky because even with the phone, I think it took them a minute to realize that what had happened was a serious injury, and then a phone call dropped, and then just luckily the fire department is down the street. So I was very, very lucky, because I know a lot of people with my injury don't make it because of that.
Right. Yeah. Your injury is similar to what Christopher Reeve's was, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Did you know right away? I know you were young. I didn't put two and two together right away that I was numb or couldn't feel the lower part of my body. Did you know right away that you were possibly paralyzed?
I did not. I had knocked the wind out of me a few years prior, and I thought I knocked the wind out of me. I knew my neck hurt, but more importantly, the only thing I kept mouthing to people was, and so I knew that it was serious, but as the time drew on and my breath never came, I knew something was really wrong.
Yeah. And of course, you went to one of the best places in the country as far as Mott goes.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, and I rehabbed at U of M as well. Now this happened when? How long has it been?
18 years ago.
Okay. All right. So, well, listen, let's talk about one of the reasons why we gathered today, and why, we wanted to interview you for some of the things that you've done since your injury that are exemplary and admirable in anyone's book. You entered into the Miss Wheelchair Michigan contest, correct?
Correct.
Do they call it what do they call it?
It's the Miss Wheelchair Michigan competition. Yes.
competition.
Yeah.
They don't say pageant.
I believe they changed that wordage a while ago. Yeah.
Okay.
Because like for me, I one of the women that runs it in Michigan and is the president of the Miss Wheelchair America organization, she had asked me and messaged me for a long time. And I thought, oh, I'm not really a pageant girl, and I'm not really. And she really focused in that it's not a beauty pageant. It is an advocacy competition. And that's about the things that we all are advocating for across the country. And when she put it that way, I was like, I'm in. I have to be.
Yeah, it's a no-brainer as far as you go, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you would have won a beauty contest as well, in my opinion. So,
Thank you.
yeah. So tell us about the process. How did you enter? What do they ask you to do to enter, etc.? What's the application process?
So you have an application where you fill out just prior advocacy efforts that you've done and what your platform would be.
What is your platform? What do you hold dear to your heart as far as advocating for?
So at the time of the competition back in 2019, I really things that I'm really passionate about is I'm the spokesperson for the National Cheerleading Safety Foundation, which
Wow.
most people don't know. Cheerleading is still not a sport, and it has one of the highest rates of catastrophic injuries across all of the sports, which is just insane. So that is something that's really close to my heart. I also have been on the Young Professionals Board for an organization called North Star Reach, and it sends kids with illnesses or medical conditions to camp for free.
Oh.
So after I broke my neck, and I think anyone with a spinal cord injury could relate to this at some level, is that you learn to go throughout this journey and figure out the things that you're capable of doing. I had been asked to go to ventilator camp for kids on ventilators and trachs, and I was scared. I had been to camp my entire life, all these different camps at, church camp and all sports camp and all this stuff. So I was not new to camp. I was new to camp as a quadriplegic on a ventilator. And going there without my parents, I laughed because I'm like, I'm 16 and I've been away from them, Bahamas and all over the country and the world without them before. And they're crying and I'm crying. And I'm thinking, what is going on, Laura? You got this.
Yeah.
And so I realized that when I went to camp that I could do this. I had to manage and advocate for myself during that week about what I needed and what I expected from my nurses or caregivers. And it was a great experience, and it really transformed my own confidence. Mm-hmm. And so when I got asked to be involved in raising money for North Star Reach, I said, absolutely. And it's been running since 2017, and it serves all different kids with disabilities and illnesses, sickle cell or transplant kids. And it's an incredible experience for each of them.
And tell me again what they learn. What is the camp for? Just to have fun? To go camping?
Yeah. It's really just to have a community of people and it's to have a community with kids with similar disabilities or illnesses, and they come from all over the Midwest, and they get together and they get to have a blast. They have a good time, and their medical needs are still met. And so just the transformation that happens from day 1 to day 5 is incredible.
I bet. Yeah. I mean, I went to summer camp as a kid, and I know how fun that is. And that's awesome that, they make it accessible for kids with all different abilities and disabilities. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's great. So did you go at 16 as a participant as a camper?
I did go as a camper, not to North Star Reach camp. It was not built at the time, but it was a camp up in the thumb of Michigan. And it was such a great experience. It really helped just build up my confidence and build up my understanding of that I do have the capabilities that I needed to maneuver through this new body and new life.
Yeah, yeah. And then are you saying it went full circle that you have gone to North Star and spoken to kids?
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I think being just a part of the Young Professionals Board and trying to help raise funds for kids to go and to keep the camp. We started this almost 10 years ago, raising the capital funds that was needed to build it. And so I've been giving my experiences about vent camp and how much it meant to me as just a way of having people understand the importance of what North Star Reach brings to all of these kids and their lives and their families.
Yeah, yeah. And what was that experience like? I bet the girls and probably some boys were just, mouth open while you were talking, like couldn't believe your experience and what you had been through and what you're doing now. I bet it was,
Yeah.
even for younger kids, I bet it was pretty amazing for them.
Yeah, and I realized, we all have a struggle of some sort, and we all choose empathy because everyone's struggle is their own, no matter what they're going through. That's their struggle, and I think it's great that speaking with kids in schools like I have throughout being Miss Wheelchair Michigan, it's been so great because you see that like I'm able to show empathy for them and their situation, and they are for me in my situation. And so it's just a powerful experience to see that with kids, and so it's been really meaningful for me during this experience as Miss Wheelchair Michigan.
And what's been your best part of your experience as Miss Wheelchair Michigan?
There's so many that one of the best has been going to schools and speaking about my platform, Move Your Mind, and hearing kids ask questions, and they're curious and they want to learn, they want to know, and I'm an open book, and I think that they appreciate that. Not every person is like that, and they're not expected to be like that. That's just who I am, and I'm glad that I'm able to educate and have kids understand what it means to have a spinal cord injury or a disability. And the other part about it is meeting so many incredible women across the country, all the other Miss Wheelchair from all the other states, the 29 other states.
So there are 30 states, 30 women.
There are 30 women that represent their state in America that are all wheelchair users. So hearing what they're doing to advocate for themselves and for their communities and for just the things that are close to their heart has been just such an amazing experience and so overwhelming to hear, because I know the things that I like to advocate for and that are close to my heart, but everyone has different things that are close to them. And so, hearing about the importance of service animal rights and the rights for the people that have them. And it's really opened my eyes to a bunch of new causes that are now also close to my heart because they're close to their heart. So,
yeah. Now, what? Real quick before we run out of time, tell me the challenges that came about, or the things that they had to change within the competition because of the pandemic. What were the certain challenges, and what did the wheelchair Miss Wheelchair across the country and locally have to shift to because of it?
So I was Miss Wheelchair Michigan 2020, and because of the pandemic, I was also Miss Wheelchair Michigan 2021. Most of the Miss Wheelchair state title holders were it for 2 years because we really didn't get to fulfill our duties as Miss Wheelchair state holders just because of the pandemic. But they did have the competition. As much as we wanted to do it in person in 2021, we still realize COVID has not gone away and COVID is still here, and we all have to be as safe as we can. So even though it was a virtual workshops and competition this year, I felt like I still really got to get to know the women so well. And now we have a sisterhood of warriors in wheelchairs,
Yeah.
And so it was really great. They did an amazing job hosting it virtually. I thought they did a fantastic job, and I learned a lot, and I met a lot of great people, and it was such a lovely experience.
So what about now? Because you're coming to an end as far as being sort of reigning, your reign, I guess, or your time, especially you getting 2 years. What about now? Because you don't go from that kind of activity to nothing. I know that you were doing a lot before this, and that's one of the reasons why you were chosen. But where do you go now? What are you doing now? And what about your future? Do you want to share?
I'm excited to wrap up the last few months of being Miss Wheelchair Michigan, but I look forward to continuing my advocacy efforts. As you know, as a person in a wheelchair, they never end. We have, you think it's been 31 years since the ADA's been passed, and I'm so thankful for everything that the disability warriors have done before us, but there's still a lot of work to be done. And so I'm looking forward to just keep my eye on and my heart just on, the nonprofits that are close to my heart, and still making sure that the future looks brighter and better and more accessible and more diverse and more inclusive for people.
Were you able to make forever friends, do you think, with some of the ladies across the country?
Absolutely. I think, we keep in contact, and we're always there to support each other. And it's just been great to have friends and people in my life that understand a struggle that maybe not so many, that other people in my life can't understand. And so that sisterhood that's been formed has just been just something that I will treasure for forever.
Yeah, for sure. And is there anybody in particular somewhere in the country that that you stay in contact very often with?
They all are. We have a Facebook group that we all chit chat on, and we all keep in contact with. And then I'm just so excited to see what Miss Wheelchair America, Miss Wheelchair California, Christine Burke does. She's just an incredible person and an inspiration to me, and I'm looking forward to see what she does with her reign.
Yeah, and so she won the national contest that you guys all go into, correct?
Yes, she did. Yeah,
and you said her platform is inclusion, which is also very important. And I bet that's we're all educating. I'm sure all 30 of you are doing a lot of educating in your state. And that's one of the greatest things that comes out of this whole process, right? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think the education aspect of it is that whether you're born with a disability, you acquire a disability, you have an illness, whatever, your life doesn't stop. Your life continues to grow and go on and be beautiful and joyful. And it just looks a little different. And I'm glad that we all are examples of that.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. Well, I just think, I think you've probably done an exemplary job at what this competition is all about. And it's nice to know that it's not a pageant, it's about advocacy. And I love that you're getting exposure to young women and young girls and probably a lot of older folks as well, and sharing your story and sharing how you just do things a little differently now. You're the same person that you were before. What you've done is evolved, just like all of us. And I love the evolution that's happened. I didn't know you before or even just a few years ago, but I like the Laura that I've met. I think that you're doing wonderful work, and I'm so glad that we could feature you on Ann Arbor Inclusive.
Well, thank you so much for having me, and it's been great talking and just talking about the things that are important to us and in the disability community. And
How
thank
can
you so
people
much.
reach you if they have questions or an opportunity for you?
Yep. So you can reach me on my Facebook. I'm under Laura Michelle, and on Instagram, I'm under Laura Michelle _713.
Okay, that sounds great. Well, thanks so much for joining us, Laura. I know that I'll see you very soon at some event, or when I see your name on the headlines of an article about an amazing person doing advocacy in her area or all over the state. So I'm sure that the future is quite bright for you. And again, I appreciate your time.
Thank you so much, Tom.
You're welcome. Well, thank you to our viewers for joining us today on Ann Arbor Inclusive. We are a program of the Ann Arbor Commission on Disability Issues at Community Television Network. We look forward to seeing you next month when we'll highlight another person or organization that's doing great things in the disability community. We appreciate you viewing our show, and we'll see you next time on Ann Arbor Inclusive.